So we're going to have these conversations twice, before the break and after the break. This first conversation is sort of local in that the people joining us here today are based locally, or either they actually are based and live here, or they're very active in Northampton and the surrounding area. So we're going to begin with a local perspective, then we'll take a break, and then after the break, we're going to have a national perspective. We're bringing some people from other cities around the UK, some in the Midlands, some London, and some elsewhere. So that's what we're going to be doing. I'm going to start by just getting you all to introduce yourselves. So let's get you. We'll go along the line. As you don't have a mic, we'll start with you here, and just give us just a 60-second introduction to who you are and what it is that you do.
So my name's Anton Noble. I'm not actually from Northamptonshire. I'm actually from Coventry, and I started an organisation called Guiding Young Minds in 2015, and I work with young people and adults that are involved in violence. Obviously, I've come from a gang background myself, so the passion was to start something called Fresh, that's an insight for young people and adults that are involved in serious trauma through violence. So I came to Northamptonshire first to start it, just because I didn't want to do it in my own hometown, because if it didn't work, I didn't want to feel shamed. But it actually worked in Northamptonshire, and now I cover 9 areas of the UK. So that's me.
Yes, I'm Dreadz. I'm an artist from Northampton. Been making music for about 10 to 15 years now, really, most of my life. So, yeah, musician. Also, I run my own event called Dready Jams, which was founded in 2021. And yeah, I've been running it since then. Everything's going well. And then as well as doing that, I'm also A&R at my friend's record label. So, yeah.
Hi. Hello. Hi, I'm Leon. Denton. I run a platform called Lay It Down, and we support up-and-coming artists and help them hone their craft and get more exposure and get confidence, and then just succeed through the music scene.
Thank you, Leon. My name's Connor Osborne. I've got a few different hats on today, not just this one. So I'm a producer and presenter for BBC Introducing in Northamptonshire, Buckinghamshire, Bedfordshire and Hertfordshire. A lot of shares. I'm also a youth work and communities lecturer at Birmingham City University, and I'm also a drum and bass DJ that runs events locally and in different places as well. So, yeah, thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. Okay, I'm going to begin with Dreadz. You mentioned the night that you run, so maybe tell us more about that. First of all, the story of how it came about, and then a little bit about how it operates today.
So Dready Jams came about in 2021. I felt like there wasn't enough going on in the town for sort of my taste and what I liked. So I thought, let me start up my own event, bring people involved. And it started off at the Fat Fugu Lounge, which is actually a tattoo shop in the town, but they do live music Fridays, each Friday of the month. So I came through, presented them Dready Jams. And since then, we've been getting local talent, not just local talent, acts from London, Manchester, Birmingham, Ipswich, all coming down. And as well as me being an artist, through networking in different areas, that's helped me bring them artists to Northampton to show them what's going on. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So yeah, helping local talent and the talent outside of the town.
And tell us, in terms of sort of genre and sort of types of music, what kind of artists are generally performing at your night?
You get all sorts, man. There's nothing to be shy of around Dready Jams. We're always helping different genres artists like come through and do their thing. Do you know what I mean? So like, some people might think this might not be the stage for them. They come through and they get a big reception. This is sort of like, oh wow, I've sort of hit a different market now. So it's good for networking, and we all just cross trade. You know what I mean?
You mentioned you have artists from locally, but you're also bringing in artists from elsewhere in the country. How are you finding those artists, or how are those artists finding you?
So, like I said, I'm an artist. So from my music being quite around the country, not just in the country, around the world, I've been able to connect with new people. Do you know what I mean? So I'm always going to networking events in London. Like I just went to Creative Visions the other day this week. That was a very good event. I go to different events like LD and RBS and stuff like that. And it helps me just meet new people. And then from there, performing, they might like me performing. And through networking, I'm like, oh, I also run my event in Northampton. Come and check it out. You know what I mean?
So those networking events, you are wearing two hats there. So you're there because you are an artist and a performer. You're exactly. Your own network as an artist, but you're also in essence scouting people to come and play.
Literally, yeah, it's a triple threat.
Let's go to Leon next. I mean, I guess same question for you about your platform and night.
So we basically run a monthly event just for up and coming artists. We have artists from out of town. We have from London, Birmingham. We've had artists from Leicester and rugby. We're pretty much up and down the board. We support anyone that wants to perform their music and get heard, really. And we nurture artists as they get experience in our events and give them advice where they need it and help them succeed, really.
And tell us quickly the history of the event. Where did it start? What was the motivation?
I first started it in 2017. I've always had a passion for music, really, to be fair. That's where it started. And I always used to listen to 80s hip-hop, all different genres. There's no specific one which I favour in any way. I kind of love it all, really. It's all music to me. But heavily focused on rap, really, because when I was younger, I used to write lyrics. I don't anymore, but maybe I should. But I used to do it, but what I wanted to do is create opportunity for people that are young and just needed somewhere to go and perform. Because when I was young, I didn't have that. So I've seen other scenes, and everybody used to go to, say, the Sidewinder shop back in my day. You know, I was 41, so I've seen it all. Well, yeah, we didn't have much. That was where people met up to show new songs and stuff back in the day. So I just kind of wanted to do something along that lines and support people that needed it.
So you mentioned that obviously the core part of the event is you're giving people a stage and a platform to perform and an audience to perform to. But then you said also there is this other role you're playing of sort of then nurturing and providing advice to those people. So, I mean, I guess in terms of what questions are the artists asking you? What advice are they looking for? You have that relationship.
We get an array of different sorts of questions like that. Like we and they're all different. Like some artists have disabilities. Some artists, some are a bit older, and some are anxious, and some are struggling with mental health. Like there's well-being's a big thing at the minute, and I think that like all of us in our scene should focus on that very much, because I think men especially need to talk about that, because we lock it away and we don't express ourselves. I think music's the perfect place for it. So, yeah.
So encouraging those people to think about their well-being and talk about their well-being within the community that you're creating.
Yeah. Well, music's a special of art. It's you paint a picture with words. It's poetry. You can paint a picture with words in someone's mind without even showing them a picture. It's quite a beautiful thing, really.
Dreadz asked a similar question to you. Of the artists that come for your program, do you find that either they're asking you or each other, is there information, advice that they're looking for?
Yeah, so different things. Most of them is like, how do I make money from this? Like, how do I push my music to the masses and stuff? Because within the town, I've had like success also around London, UK and stuff like that. Over 3 million in total, like Spotify streams and stuff like that. So they'll look at someone like me and be like, how do I get to that? And I show them there's different pathways. You can use your social media, like you've got TikTok, Instagram. You can reach out to people online. You can go on Spotify, like even just searching in Spotify at gmail.com or at whatever, it generates someone's email. You can email them and pitch your music to the playlist. Do you know what I mean? So I give them all of this support and where they can go and try and push their music and stuff like that. And not only that, like I said, my friend runs his own record label. We have a studio, so there's always a studio and somewhere for them to go to and create producers, videographers, everything. So like all under one roof, I can push them towards whatever they need.
That's really interesting. So your event at its heart is a live night. It's a live experience. But then in that, artists are also recording, they're also releasing. So how do I get my music on Spotify? How do I make money on Spotify? How do I get streamed? So you're then sort of offering all that advice. And I mean, do you then have places that you can direct people to, go to that YouTube channel, that website, that organization? And are there questions you get asked where actually you don't really know the answer?
Yeah, sometimes that is the case. Like sometimes we're learning together, and if they ask me a question, we're sort of like, how can we figure this out? Do you know what I mean? And go from there. But not only within that, is it artists, like my friend, he's my co-host, and he wanted to get into that, presenting and stuff like for football and stuff. And my other friend's a videographer. So within the community, I'm also handing them out jobs within the way. Do you know what I mean? And obviously through the night, we're selling tickets and we're promoting around the town. So through the tickets and that, I can then pay people and give them something to like take away from the night as well. Do you know what I mean? And there's the locals that will come through, enjoy, drink and have some fun. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
I think that's really interesting because I know when we do workshops, whether it's at CMU or Pathways into Music with early career artists, often it's how do I connect with the industry? How do I get a label, a manager, an agent, etc.? And one thing that we always say is before you start working with the industry, because the annoying thing with the industry is when people say, how do I get a label? How do I get a manager? The answer is when you're ready, they'll come to you, which isn't very helpful. But that collaboration, that's the thing that you could and should be doing right away. It's like not just come to the night, do your set and leave. It's like collaborate on shows, collaborate on videos, collaborate on recordings and content. Because actually, before you get any business partners, collaborators are absolutely key. I'm going to come to Carla next with your Bees Introducing hat on, because I guess the conversation today is about joining the dots. And so collaboration comes first, but then artists do want to slowly connect with the industry. And I guess before the record label wants to sign you or the manager wants to take you on, we start interacting with the TuneCores and Dittos and DistroKids of the world. Maybe we discover PRS, PPL. But the BBC is another institution that can be a first connection in. So we know BBC Introducing as a show, as a program, but maybe just talk to us about all the other things that sit under that banner and the role that you play as a local representative in this part of the world.
Yeah, so it's actually quite a big ecosystem. So it's a whole national platform. So it goes from the local shows like how we do here in Northampton, and then it goes up to the national shows like Radio 1, 1 Extra, 6 Music, some stuff on Radio 2 as well. And basically it all gets, the ecosystem feeds through the local system, goes into the national system, and that's what then gets fed out into the national plays, the festival stages. Like for example, this weekend, it's Radio 1's big weekend. So we have a BBC Introducing stage there, and that is made up for the whole weekend completely of artists that have come through that local route, and they get the opportunity to perform in front of X amount of thousands of people. It's not just there, they have them at Glastonbury, they have them at Reading and Leeds, Latitude, all of those kind of places. So there's a lot of opportunity that can come out. And it's not just about the performance opportunities either. So a lot of our central team in London, they work with a lot of labels, about sort of pitching artists to labels and vice versa. And I don't know if this is true, but I've heard that a lot of major record labels, they actually employ someone to sit there and listen through all the local shows, just so if they can see if they can pick out anyone that's sort of like worth scouting or anything like that. So I don't know who's doing that job. I commend them massively because listening through, that's just 35 hours of music 24/7, which can be good in a sense, but yeah, so that's the kind of opportunities that can come out of it. And it's a really powerful tool. So any artist that is making music, I'd always sort of encourage them to upload music through the uploader, because you never know where it's going to go, really.
No, and I think that's obviously once you're releasing music, I mean, you mentioned this in terms of the question, it's really easy to release music now. That's brilliant. You pay Ditto, whatever you pay Ditto, and it appears on Spotify and Apple and Amazon and YouTube and TikTok and Instagram. Brilliant. The problem is there's 120 million tracks on those platforms, and yesterday another 100,000 were added. So how the hell do you stand out? And that's where you can fill out the playlist form within Spotify for Artists, and you should, knowing that 10,000 people have also filled that out today. But I think getting the system into the BBC, the fact there is that, I don't know, those of you who are artists, that the uploader, that is sort of your entry point. You know, you can try sending your music to the DJs on 1 Extra, Radio 1, on the stations directly. They may or may not open the email, they may not, but that is an official system to get it into the BBC platform. That's not guaranteed Radio 1 airplay tomorrow, but it's a step on that journey.
Yeah, that's it. And because they have that official route, so we're allowed to sort of forward a certain amount of tracks per week to like the different inboxes. So they've got different inboxes for all like different genres of music, essentially. So they have the Radio 1 dance introducing show. So we'll send through like 2 dance tracks from this region every week. It's the same with rock. It's the same with R&B. It's the same with hip hop. So yeah, those and they're basically the presenters and the DJs on the national stations. They're basically told, yeah, look at this inbox. You need to play some stuff off it, essentially. So more often than not, there is a lot of music that is being fed straight through the local show that's getting national play sort of every week. So yeah, it's worth sending it in.
Okay, Anton, you in your introduction, you just gave us a few sentences about the organisation you set up. But I mean, let's really delve into now. Just recap us on the story as to when and why you set it up, and then what it is that you do today.
So I'm originally from Coventry, and I was involved in street gang. And our street gang, we did music, so we grew up on grime. So grime was our voice to speak about our traumas, our hurt, and how culture was around us. But we used to travel up and down. So people see me in Northamptonshire, think I'm from Northamptonshire, but I'm not. But I actually been down here a very, very long time. But my journey started for me to transform due to life happens and you get caught up in criminal activities. And my older brother that I looked up to nearly died and I had to save his life. And then, so it came to a point where I wanted to change, and that was my wake-up call. And then I made a service called Guiding Young Minds, and now I've got many mentors and therapists that work for me around the country. And music is a way now that I see, if you do not challenge the young person or adult's trauma that they've been through, how they speak in music and lyrics comes out in the community, which can affect the community. So even though you're speaking and giving, it's like a therapy. People say music is like a therapy, but if you're not acknowledging the trauma that you've been through, the words that you speak, it's power. So you're giving your trauma to someone else that can be trauma bonding. So we work with high risk young people and adults to mend them in that situation, so whatever they speak out can give healing instead of trauma and hurt.
So the young people you're working with, how do you get connected with them? How do you sort of build that relationship?
So many of the young people around the different areas that we work with either come through schools, police, prisons, youth offending, or they self-refer. Because we're very out there now, most of the times the young people would message us, and we work with them from there.
And once you've connected with a young person, what is it that you, I mean, beyond the music stuff, what is it that you're sort of doing day to day, week to week to support those people?
We are service at mentors. So we are workers that have lived experience, but not just lived experience. I'm CBD trained, so in trauma. So I can speak about my lived experience, but the young person, the adult, wants to see the change that I've made and how I got there. And so I use my lived experience to bond with them, but I use my knowledge to take them further. So we are like mentors that guide young people that are involved in violence to get to another stage and purpose in their life, what they really wanted from the start.
So you mentioned how music was very important to your story, but also to many of the people that you're working with. And do you think, obviously, music can be really important in terms of mental health, in terms of expression, but in terms of helping people find a track into employment, into long-term, success, can music play a role in that? And if so, is that something that you're able to do, or is it something where actually we need music education, we need music industry to come to you to sort of figure out how you could collaborate?
Yeah, so we collaborate with many services and studios all across the areas that we work in. But I feel with music, if you're a person that loves music, it builds your character, and you could take that confidence into anywhere. So music's, you don't even have to be an artist. Sometimes you might love to write lyrics and perform. And then when you go to a job interview, you're performing, you're showing who you are. So music could do many more stuff than just the box that it's in. It can grow a person, it can nurture a person, and it can speak to a young person's soul. So yeah, I think it could do way more than what it is.
Now, it's really interesting. So it may be that through the music making, the performance, there's a career in music or in the wider creative entertainment industry. But what you're saying is actually you feel that just in terms of employability skills, having that confidence, the communication skills, you can then use that to help you try and pursue a career in pretty much any industry?
Yeah, it's if you can write lyrics, you can write about yourself. You could also promote yourself very well. And if you can speak about someone else's perspective, you can also go to a job and see what needs to be changed because you're seeing someone else in their perspective. So yeah, there's a lot of things you can learn from music.
Come back to Dreadz and then Leon. I mean, the young people that you're seeing coming through your programs, I mean, what sort of knowledge and support do you think we need to get to those people? And then what is the role of industry and education in helping you as somebody who has the day-to-day relationship to sort of pass that support on?
They need to know like some of the basics. Like some people don't really know about like publishing. Some people might not know about royalties and stuff like that. So like some of these people actually need the training to understand that. And I think within the town and just around the UK, it would be good to have like proper mentors and workshops. Even me, I informally sort of mentor some of my artists that come to the event, and I show them different things what they can do to help them within what they're doing other than just the music, because that's only a certain percentage of what you're doing. There's loads more to it, do you know what I mean? Like, as well as uploading it and putting it out there, you want to make sure you're registered on your PRS, you want to put your music on the PPO. When you're pushing it around to DJs and stuff like that, you're formally getting paid from that as well, do you know what I'm saying? So you need to make sure that they've got that sort of system in place. And we do have something like that in Northampton within music and media and stuff like that. And I will be working with them to do even more stuff that we can do for people of not just the young age group, but you've got people that are older but still young. Me, I'm 27, but some of the artists that are coming to my event, they might be like 22, 23, but they still need that help. Do you know what I mean? So just different things in place where they can come to and feel free. Do you know what I mean?
And that's really interesting because obviously, you know, we are in an era where you can go and study music business at university, and, you know, one would hope that across the course, they would be touching on rights and publishing and PRS and all of that stuff. But for a lot of the people that you're working with, that's not the route that they're realistically going to go. And we could also say, is it a good use of 3 years of their time and 30 grand of their money? Probably not. So it's finding those more informal ways, organizations like Denton organization that can help. I mean, it's just, in terms of, you know, with the people you're working with, is there knowledge and support that as an industry we should be trying to connect?
I think really it needs to start from schools, and I think we need to link a pathway between the different groups and events that are like Lay Down and Dready Jams, like, and bring them together so there's a route where they can leave schools, they can come practice their own music regularly, and then have workshops in between that before they get to the shows, because there's a big gap there, and it's like they need somewhere to go and perform, because then as they perform, they might adapt their style, or they might change it up. There's loads of aspects to it, because when you sit at home and you're writing lyrics, and then when you're out there and you're in front of a load of people, like I'm nervous now sitting there in front of you. But like when you're at home, you're at peace with yourself. You're writing your lyrics. You're expressing yourself you're expressing your darkest thoughts. And then, but when you're out there and you're in front of people, it's like there's a barrier that comes up, and it's not. It needs to be, that barrier needs to be like slowly broken down, and then get their confidence up, build on their performances, work on like projection to the audience, because no one really talks about that at the start. They all think, oh, I've got to just write a lyric and it's got to be better than him, and it's like a competition. A competition is great, but if we're all in competition with each other, like eventually it's just going to be one person there, like, and everyone's going to be just like, there's going to be no community. So I think we need to all work together. We need to work out like a route from schools, linking that gap between different societies that have got things in plan, and work a way that we can go through it and expose these artists and get them to offload their chests and because that will help their mental health as well.
Now, that's a really important point, isn't it? Is we're talking about joining the dots here. So I was sort of coming to you as the entry point and what next. But the really important point is, well, what before they reach you? Because actually the journey begins not age 19 when they're coming to you. The journey begins age 6, age 7 in primary school and then secondary school. And it's how can we communicate to everybody in the more formal education, or indeed, you know, the organizations, you know, which when people fall out of education, that if they're 12, they're not quite ready necessarily, although Daniel possibly proved otherwise, but they're not necessarily ready age 12 for what you're doing. But we would like them to know that there's a journey that they're on, and they will.
Yeah, I think there's like a barrier. Like people think that because rap is like bad, when it's not all bad. Like there is people writing songs and rapping about things that are good. Like it's not all. It doesn't need to be about guns and gangs and violence. Like you can just talk about your day walking down the street and make it exciting and interesting and draw people in. And then, like, there's so much you can do with music. It's not. We need to get away from that stigma, I think.
And do either of you mentioned you have connections within the industry and with Daniel's organisation, etc. But do either of you have contacts with local schools, or is that something which would be good for us to?
I've been working alongside the uni, and we're going to put something in place there as well. So that's gives them an opportunity as well to get on there and heard. So that'll involve more people from out of town, because obviously uni's on a wide scale.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Anton, you mentioned that sometimes people are coming to you through their school or through those sorts of institutions. How did you build those relationships so that they know where you are and they know that is a route that's potentially open if it's required?
Networking. I went to loads of networking events with professionals, and I told them what we do. And because I'm very close with the youth offending services and police over here, and everyone that's involved in, that deals with young people and adults involved in crime, when you get the opportunity, sometimes school is the place, like the nest where most kids go, but there's some kids that can't, they're not in schools and they're on the streets. So we've got a youth bus that we use, and it's a portable one, which has got microphones and music system, where we just pull up and they do.
That's your own initiative.
That's our own initiative. Yeah. So, and when that happens, we see a lot of talent. There's a lot of talent on the street, but sometimes it's in the wrong direction where what they're speaking about. They're speaking about to impress someone instead of growing themselves. So then, if with services like these that are around that I just know now, I could redirect them to these to coach them. So sometimes you need someone that's on the streets to pick up the talent, as you said, to show them to these lot to get where they need to.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I think the police could probably help us as well by giving us like the repeat offenders or the people that are trouble, and kind of give them a place so they know where to come. Like, look, we're here for them.
Yeah.
Like,
No, so as I say, come back to joining the dots. All of these institutions, it's making sure everyone's aware of everywhere else. But then with your initiative, it's like, but then the people who've completely fallen out of all of those institutions, can you go out and find those people where they are, where they're hanging out? Connor, one other question is, I mean, in terms of all the stuff that you do, what sort of information and knowledge do you think that sort of young people who are passionate about music need? And does the BBC have a role? Obviously, people are coming to BBC Introducing because they want to be played on One Extra, but does the BBC also have a bit of an educational role there as well?
Yeah, it does. And as you mentioned in your introduction today, a lot of these things happen in like the bigger cities. And so places like Northampton, as much as it pains me, these opportunities aren't as widely available, which is why I'm happy today is happening, basically. So yeah, for me, I feel like there needs to be more outreach on like BBC Introducing's behalf to offer this information to young people. We have actually, like, very recently, we've started working on a pilot program of an organisation in Coventry. So they have an open access like music session during the week with young people from various leases of life, and then basically they've handpicked out these 3 young people that are like really excelling with their music. So I've been over there to basically mentor them to the next step. So not just about is your music good enough, it's about is it suitable for radio, giving them some media training, all that kind of stuff. So then they can actually then come into the BBC and then have their track played, have an interview and have the whole process. And then we can kind of monitor that and then pass and see what works, what doesn't. So that can then be passed on to other young people essentially. So in my opinion, there needs to be more stuff like that. The only problem that we've got obviously is always it's funding. But if more organisations can work together and sort of work in a collaborative way, I think that more initiatives like that and working with all the guys up here as well and other people in the room. That's the kind of thing that we need, is like more cohesion between the organisations. And I think if we can get that right, then that's when the information can be passed on without any gatekeeping or anything like that. So yeah.
In a moment, I'm going to ask each of our panelists for advice and tips for those of you in the room who are musicians, producers, performers early on in your career. But I just want to throw out if anyone has any questions in the room that they would like to ask before we get to that. Does anyone? Okay, I'm going to see if this now works, and I'm going to be a bit sort of talk show style and bring the mic down to you. So hopefully this will work.
All right then. So boom, I feel like there's been like a shift in it in what people think is cool. What do you think is cool? So like, instead of them looking up to like gangsters and drug dealers, etc., they're looking up to more like streamers and content creators. Do you like feel like music is the most effective way to deter youth from doing bad stuff?
Yeah, it's a good way to get into your zone and your therapy and stuff like that. But like what you said about the streamers and stuff like that, that is something that's really key right now. And a lot of people are looking up to like the Speeds, the Kais and Nats, and they want to do what they're doing. So I think in the creative world as a whole, it's just something that is like, how do I put it? Just something constructive, creative to do. Because music, like you say, it's a good one to zone out in, but that might not always be someone's cup of tea. They might want to do something else. They might want to go play football, go to the gym and do fitness content. So it is a good outlet, and it is like the direction which is good to go in, but it's not always, I would say, the best one, because it's up to what the person likes and their fancies, I would say.
So the passion of the individual.
The passion of the individual.
I guess what's great about the YouTube, TikTok, Instagram world is you can make content about literally anything, and you don't need musical skills. I guess that's the thing about the music route is having the skills and talent. Any other questions in the room? Yes, one at the back. I'm going to run over here and give you the mic. This is giving you some talent challenge here on the technical side.
Thank you very much. Panel, it's so fantastic to hear what you guys are doing. Thank you. It's amazing. Really exciting to hear so many wonderful things happening, particularly here in Northamptonshire. There is a question, though. As a homeschooling mother, are there any... I always hear of all these fantastic opportunities that are available for children who are in school. Since COVID, we have a lot of children who are now no longer attending school, who are at home and learning from home. However, there are absolutely no facilities for home learning families. So do you know if there's any kind of projects that are community-based for people who are doing home learning, so that the children, because often the children who are home learning are children who struggle in mainstream education, and then there's just nothing for them. So this is really an area that I think that we really need to fill a gap here and give opportunities to these children too, because there's nothing, absolutely nothing, not even one piece of paper for them. So, yes, so that's my question. Are you thinking about these children? Please, please, please say yes, and that you've got a really great programme coming.
I know there's a few places online that you can go and do home learning. We home learned my son, but no, there's not. I don't think there is any community projects based on that, but I think there needs to be.
With our service, we do come to your home, and we do engage with young people, and we take them out and do stuff with them. And there's many young people, because we work with serious violence young people. Some of these kids can't be around other kids, so we have to come to their homes and we have to do stuff with them. And sometimes the mothers and fathers are struggling with the young people, not due to education. Sometimes it's emotional and things that they're lacking to support them. So we do come into the homes to support and do stuff with them in the community on a one-to-one level. So yeah, we do that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. So we'll make a note of that. But definitely, like the homeschooling, that's a audience that needs to be targeted as well. My daughter's homeschooled as well, so yeah, I get it. This is a question for Connor. So you see, you were saying about the BBC introducing, yeah, and that like the process that tracks are going through. Like what's the genres, the music genres, what go through? Is it like equal in across all genres, or is it more specific genres that you're seeing go through the process and get to like mainstream radio?
It depends who's presenting the show that week, because if it's me, I just play drum and bass. No, I don't really. Yeah, well, we try to be really even with the distribution of what tracks we play. In other areas of England, we find that, say, some of them are much more like band dominated. Some of them are like just fully like rap dominated. It just depends what part of the country it is. But I feel like in Northampton, the music scene's so diverse. We try and really split it up. So we are playing like an equal amount of like different genres in the show. We will tend to sort of play, I don't know, it's more, we do get quite a lot of rap music and dance stuff, but we throw in country and western songs in there, and we'll forward that on to like different national shows that will play alternative stuff like on Six Music. So in this area, we try to keep it very, very balanced. We try our best.
Okay, for those who can't hear what Dan said, it's like, obviously, when you then pass it up the chain to the national stations, how do they decide where to send them to? Who picks up the music? Okay, which genres get more pick up on the national level?
Well, it's hard to say, because so on the national stage now, they've got, I don't even know how many shows there are, but there is literally introducing national rap show, a rock show, a general show, a dance show. So it's covering a lot of it, and then they have their other ones on like Six Music as well. So in terms of what goes through, we see quite an even split. But from us recently, I'd say the most national coverage we've been getting is actually like dance music from this region. It's a really tough question, because it depends on like what time it is of the year as well. But at the minute, I'd say the biggest sort of coverage we're getting from this area is dance music.
Okay, we're going to quickly wrap up by just getting some practical tips from each of you for people in the room who are early on in their music careers. Why don't we begin with any, you've given some really good advice there about the BBC introducing side, but any just some basic tips, advice for people who are early on, who aspire to work in music, either on stage or behind the scenes?
Don't be afraid to ask questions. There's no such thing as a stupid question. Just ask as much as you can, take any opportunity you can, just get involved. And if you're sending us music, please don't swear, basically.
Basically, when if you're an artist and you want to help yourself get exposed, put a file together and work closely with your producer and get him to do your clean, so you can get radio access, and then do different mixes for different things. So do a performance one for when you're doing shows, a clean one, and a normal one, basically.
So have lots of different versions of your tracks, and make sure you've got all the stems and the files, so you can create whatever you need down the line. Yeah,
passion and love drives everything, and obviously that starts from within here. So just be yourself. Don't look at what other people are doing. He's cool doing that, I might try and do that. Just be you and do what's right for you. Like, look at people growing up, blowing up with country music. I might not listen to country music, but it might be someone else's taste what drives and pushes them to do what they're doing. So just be yourself. Yeah.
I always say, network as much as you can and speak to your audience and cater to your audience, cater to your surroundings. And once your home that you live in, your parents love your music, then everyone will love your music. That's what I say.
Fantastic. Some great advice. Okay, we're going to now take a 15-minute break so you can top up on coffees and teas at the back, and then we'll regroup once again looking at connecting with and supporting young talent. But we've got some people coming from a little bit further afield to discuss on the projects and programs and experiences that they have. So we'll see you back here in 15 minutes.